When it comes to the NBA, what has been really going successfully for you? Because I know you guys over there at Shot Quality Bets, I've said it before, you guys are known a little bit more for college basketball, but I know that your NBA model has been doing terrific. What has been really the best places to find some profitability? Because I feel like the sides and totals can get a little bit harebrained, but more of the derivative markets, more of the player props, these can typically be the places where you're able to make the most money.
Yeah, we've actually done really well with our player props. We just launched a model specifically for points for now. We're going to move into rebounds, assists, and the combos eventually, but just dropped our points model about a week and a half ago. It's honestly been on a tear. Our top picks, we've been giving out 2 a day on Twitter. We've hit 8 in a row. So it's been going very well. Really excited about this model, ability to predict player points and just kind of fine tune how much a player is expected with our, really cool expectation data. So getting as predictive as possible, trying to key in on spots, or maybe the market's ignoring a little too many possessions for a player, or maybe too few. So kind of interesting to pick and choose our spots here in the NBA playoffs.
And I do think that player props are always so interesting to take a look at because I think that a lot of the value are on more of these mid-tier guys. Like, we all know what to expect out of Jason Tatum. His point total for Monday that is set at 28.5. It's shaded up to the over. Jaylen Brown, you have to lay a minus 135 to dive in on a 24.5. But I think that more of these guys, like a Derek White, I was bringing up a little bit earlier, if I'm taking a look at an over for that game one, I do think that there's a little bit of value on Tobias Harris at over 16.5. Is that what you've been finding as well, or have you guys been able to find some value on these bigger stars like a Jason Tatum and company?
Yeah, we actually just hit Jimmy Butler under 30.5 for
Nice.
Knicks Heat game one. So we've actually been pretty bold in going after some of these stars on the under. You can find some of their numbers can be a little bit high. We hit AD under. Of course, the Lakers won in a blowout. So when you get guys resting at the end of a game, it can really be nice on a superstar under. That's kind of how you have to win them. Klay Thompson unders have been pretty good to us the last couple of games. He, kind of took a little bit of a back seat, had a really tough run at the end of game 6. But, look, we hit the unders, but you're right. We actually are on that Derek White over. So you hit a good one. And we like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for the Nuggets to be another solid over spot for the May 1st games. I think these, role players can sometimes get ignored. Everyone looks for the Jokic, for the Murray props and the Nuggets, but Pope should get a couple of looks, be able to get past that 8-9 point number pretty well. We'd like him to get into double digits. So that's a spot we hit in game one. I expect to be pretty good to us again in game two.
And to your point, taking a look at more of these star unders can oftentimes be a good look as well because there's not too many people out there being like, oh boy, I really hope that Jimmy Butler goes under his player prop or anything like that. There's going to be a lot more tickets on the over rather than the under. The money, that's another question. The tickets, we can expect more over tickets than under tickets. But I know that you mentioned Kentavious Caldwell-Pope of the Denver Nuggets. So let's take a look at that game 2 game between the Nuggets and the Suns, as the Suns are currently 4.5-point underdogs. Total on this game is 227. What do you make out of both this game and the series in general? Because I felt like the Phoenix Suns came in a little bit overhyped. I take a look at the Suns team, and they were able to have a lot of success during the regular season with Kevin Durant, but I also felt like they were playing against a few teams that were resting guys, a few less than terrific teams as well. And I do think that the Denver Nuggets, the 1 seed, they were getting a little bit more short shrift than they deserved.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good take on it. The Suns obviously looked a little bit worse when you have guys like Devin Booker going against a pretty legit defense there in Denver compared to what they saw in the first round. A little bit of a hobbled Clippers team that was throwing maybe a weaker defensive look at some stars. Kevin Durant obviously is still that guy and can probably take over, but I really like the Nuggets here. I think the 4.5 number is pretty spot on. This is the only game that our NBA model, the game level model, doesn't have a play on tomorrow. So we're going to sit back and just play those player props from the shot qualities perspective. But I do think this is another spot for Denver to get the win. I feel pretty good about the money line. I would be shocked to see this one go to the Suns. I think they're going to need to strike at home and then, maybe try to steal a game for 5 or 7 if they want to win this series.
Yep, I think so as well. And then when it comes to the other game that we're going to be seeing on Monday, that would be the 76ers and the Celtics. Celtics are a 10-point favorite. They opened up more around 6.5 to 7 prior to the news that Joel Embiid is not going to be available in Game 1. Do you think that this was the proper move, about 3 to 3.5 points reduced with the Philadelphia 76ers? Because the Sixers have actually went well above 500 without Joel Embiid this year. Whole different ball of wax when you go up against the Boston Celtics, so.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, this Celtics team, maybe had a little bit of a misstep against the Hawks. I think people were surprised to see this one go past 4, honestly. But the Hawks are a pesky team. We've always seen it. Trae Young can make things difficult. I expect the 76ers to do the same thing, even without Joel Embiid. They still do have a guy named James Harden, who honestly did not have a great first series. I expect him to try his best to step up and make it difficult. I think you're probably going to want to be on the side of taking those points. It's going to be tough, especially for Philadelphia in Boston, but I still do think they keep this one within 10. If I had to choose a side, we do have that as a play for shot quality. We'll take the plus 10. It's just, again, it's a tough number. A lot of stuff can happen in those last couple of minutes. I wouldn't be shocked to see Boston come out roaring in the first quarter, in the first half. I would definitely look to Boston for those smaller numbers in the beginning of the game, and then expect Philly to maybe compete, especially as the game kind of, settles in to be a Boston win. But, by 10 versus by 7, I don't think the Celtics are really going to mind, but we will when we take those points.
Oh, absolutely. We always find when it comes to that. And what do you make out of the series that did get set on Sunday? There was a nice Game 7 on the state of California. The Golden State Warriors, they were able to get it done. And now I'm seeing the Warriors at DraftKings as being right around minus 150 to minus 155 favorites for the series. Now, important to note that in this series, they actually do have home court advantage, and this has been a Warriors team that's had their struggles on the road, but I feel like this is just a little bit too big of a number for the Warriors to be favored by in this series, because I really like the way that the Lakers have played ever since the trade/release of Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, I think the Lakers are definitely a little bit live at that number. The Warriors, I mean, look, they just had an incredible series. Steph Curry putting up, 50 points in a Game 7. Pretty unbelievable. The effort was needed to get past those Kings. They were a good team, and I think they really put up a fight. Maybe a little bit of the inexperience showing in a Game 7 against a veteran squad like the Warriors, who know how to sort of battle through adversity, or maybe a star not doing everything that you want in a Game 7, like a Klay Thompson having a bit of a difficult game. I think those problems, I don't think you're going to slip by the Lakers in a Game 7 if you do not have your team in full force. So I expect this one to go pretty deep. I would expect either team to win in 6 or 7 games. It's not going to be a fast one. But yeah, I do think if you're getting plus money on LeBron and the Lakers, you want to take it early. They steal a game in Golden State, you're going to be looking at some nice value heading back to LA for Game 3 and 4.
And Justin, we've got about a minute left in this segment right here on the Greg Peterson Experience before we turn it over to a little bit of baseball in the next segment. But what did you make out of the Miami Heat being able to pull it off Game 1 and just the series as a whole? As Game 2, we're right now seeing the Knicks as a 6.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I think, look, the Knicks are definitely going to come back around. I think they kind of had their worst game of the playoffs, no doubt there. Really interestingly, from the shot quality perspective, it was the first game that the Heat had won on the shot quality and the first game that the Knicks had lost. So you could really say the Knicks were kind of due for a performance like this. No Julius Randle, definitely hurt. When they get that depth back, they definitely showed signs that they could just kind of dominate this Heat team, but the inexperience got to them. They shot cold. Brunson didn't have it. It was just a little bit of a perfect storm today. So my confidence isn't really weathered on my Knicks. I'm actually very excited about them. I think they can go to Miami and get games. So wouldn't be surprised to see this one tied after 4. But yeah, Knicks should get the next game. I like laying it. And I wouldn't be shocked to see them get good numbers in Miami if you want some value.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.